there, my name's Robin, and welcome to English Grammar Now. Today, our lesson is going to be about using when. We use when if we're starting a clause where we're going to talk about the time that something happened. It can help us add a lot of description about time in our sentences. Here's a few examples to start off with. I'll have some coffee when I come back. When the show starts, can you call me? When you start the motto, is there a strange noise? You can see that when can come in different parts of our sentence. We're going to talk about how to use it. First of all, when the clause that has when in it comes at the beginning of our sentence, then we need to use a comma after it. But it has the same meaning as putting the when clause at the end of the sentence. And in that case, you don't need a comma. Here's what that could look like. When I was young, comma, I broke my arm playing football. But this has the same meaning as saying, I broke my arm playing football when I was young. In this case, you don't need to have a comma. We can use clauses that have when to talk about the past or the future. Here's some examples using when to describe a past time. I was climbing a tree when I slipped and fell. When I was in school, the teachers helped me a lot. You can see that in both of these, the when clause has a past verb. I slipped, past tense. I was in school, past tense. But we can also use it to talk about the future. Here's a couple of examples of this. Make sure to call when you arrive home. When I have more time, I'd like to learn to bake. In these cases, we're not talking about something that has already happened, or even something that's happening now. We're talking about something that may happen in the future. If we're using a when clause to talk about the future, we don't use the normal grammar for talking about the future. If we were making a normal sentence, we would use will or be going to. But in a when clause, it has a future meaning on its own. So we use the present simple or the present perfect. Here's some examples of how that could look. We could say, when I've finished my homework, I'm going to go out. So here we have the present perfect, when I've finished. We would not say, when I am finishing my homework, which is another way we would use to talk about the future if it wasn't a when clause. Another example, I'll meet you when class is over. Again, the when clause does not need to have the normal future grammar. We would not say, I'll meet you when class will be over. We just use the present simple. Here's an activity for you to practice. We have the two parts of the sentence that you need to match together. In each case, try putting when at the beginning and then adding the first clause and the second clause. But don't forget to put a comma where one is needed. Good luck! Here's how we could put those sentences together. Each of these is starting with when, so I hope you remembered to put a comma after the when clause. The first one, when I'm tired, I like to watch TV. The second one, when she started the car, the cat ran out from under it. The third one, when I phoned her, she didn't answer. The fourth one, when we turned on the lights, we saw the mess on the floor. And the last one, when the show was over, we took a bus home. Great job! You may have also seen a couple of other phrases that have the same meaning. You might notice once or as soon as at the beginning of similar clauses. Once and as soon as can be used in the same way as when. They are pointing to a specific time that something has happened or will happen in the future. Here's some examples. When they pick up the books, we can prepare the packages. The same meaning would be to say, once they pick up the books, we can prepare the packages. Another example. When we hear any news, we'll let you know. The same meaning would be to say, as soon as we hear any news, we'll let you know. If we are using when, once, or as soon as at the beginning of a clause, we have to make sure that we are joining two complete sentences together. Unlike conjunctions, we cannot take out the subject in the second clause. So if we want to join the sentences, she loved to dance and she was young, we could say she loved to dance when she was young. But we could not say she loved to dance when was young. That would be something we could do with a conjunction, but not with when. Now you try. See if you can put together the time clauses in the box with the different events that are listed. This is the story of someone telling about their life. So see if you can imagine how that story would play out, and then put the events in the right order. Go ahead, give it a try. Here's how we could put these events together with the time clauses that were given. Number 1. I met Tim when we were in high school together. You can see that because the when clause is at the end of the sentence, we don't need to have a comma before it. Number 2. We started dating when I was in college. This is the same. The when clause comes at the end. We don't need a comma. Number 3. As soon as we graduated from college, we got engaged. In this case, I decided to put the clause at the beginning, so I made sure to use a comma before the second clause. Number 4. When Tim started his new job, we had our first child. Again, with this clause at the beginning of the sentence, don't forget that comma. And the last one. Once we knew we were pregnant again, we moved to Arizona. There we have one more example of the clause followed by a comma and the second clause. You have a little bit of choice when using when, as soon as, or once as well. Great job! Here's an example of how we could use these clauses to talk about time in a normal conversation. Let's take a look. Hi, Mira. How's the new puppy doing? Well, once we have him trained to go for walks, it will be a lot easier. Now, when we take him out, he just cries and sits down. I see. Maybe you can give him a treat when he comes along with you. I've been trying. Yesterday he wanted to go out, and when I brought his leash, he sat still while I put it on. I gave him a treat as soon as he stepped outside. He'll learn quickly. Puppies are pretty smart when there are snacks that they like. Here you can see our phrases to talk about time highlighted. We can use once, when, and as soon as. But make sure to be careful about where to put commas, depending on which clause is coming at the beginning of the sentence. These are phrases that are very helpful to explain stories and to talk about things both in the past and in the future. Thanks for studying with me today. I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye!